Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another airport update. This one for the month of May 2025. Yes, this is actually the May update. Rewatching my update from last month, I realized I misspoke and I said May at the beginning of last month's video instead of April, but I can confirm it is Friday, May 2nd. So yeah, this is going to be the update for May for PTS. Lots of stuff going on today. The time frame for this one's going to be around 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. We're going to start over on the cargo ramp today. Starting on the cargo ramp, we have a FedEx Boeing 767-300 in the updated livery, the minimalist livery, if you ask me, with the express titles gone and FedEx no longer being on the engines. Not sure how I feel about that. However, I did just pick up this model recently for the sakes of staying up to date with this fictional airport setting. I still want to keep it semi-realistic to real life. So I went ahead and got this one recently from MTS Aviation Models up in Beaver Creek, Ohio. Can't recommend them enough. In fact, that's where I get, I'd say 90% of the models I pick up come from MTS up there in Beaver Creek. So huge shout out to them. Very reasonable prices. Always a great shopping experience. But with that aside, FedEx 767-300, this aircraft is on an equipment upgrade today on the Memphis rotation. Arrived in from Memphis around 5 o'clock this morning and is now being reloaded for the return flight to Memphis. And right next door, we also have an equipment upgrade from the typical ATR. This Boeing 757-200 in the older FedEx livery now. This aircraft arrived in from Huntington, West Virginia on a very short flight for an aircraft of this size and is just taking on some more cargo before continuing to Indianapolis, Indiana. And because we have two larger FedEx aircraft on the stands today, DHL had to make do with what space was left over in front of the maintenance hangar. This DHL 737-800, of course, operated by Kalitta Air, came in from Cincinnati CVG. Some may say a short flight for this aircraft size, but this aircraft, of course, is being unloaded and will be repacked for the return to CVG. And we go ahead to the taxiway. Reverse ops for the runways today. They're landing and taking off 3-6 rather than 1-8. But yeah, there we have an airport ops pickup that just pulled off the runway after a sweep. Made it just in time for FedEx or the Southwest aircraft taking off to be able to take off safely without there being any obstructions on the runway. And it's just following the line of aircraft on the taxiway as it's continuing to do its checks on airport facilities. But next aircraft of the update, we have an American Airbus A321neo. This aircraft arrived in from Dallas and will be returning to Dallas after the turnaround. Next up, we got a Gulfstream G500. The aircraft arrived in from Miami Opelika, and it will be departing for New York Teterboro after its turn, and that will be a later on in the day departure. And going on after that, we have an American Eagle CRJ 700 arriving in from the once daily flight from Boston BOS. This flight rather will be switching to the Embraer 170, formerly served by the CRJ 200, and just for the sake of switching out some equipment, in and out of the hub, or the focus city here for American at PTS. They will be bringing in more E170s, because I did pick up that model recently. I just forgot to include it in this update. So yeah, with all that aside, American Eagle CRJ 700 operated by PSA, arriving in from Boston, and it will be departing on the daily flight to Raleigh Durham after the turnaround. Moving on down here to gate B, or A6 rather, not B6, A6. This American Airlines Airbus A320 just got the pushback tug connected, and this aircraft will be making a flight to Phoenix, Arizona today. As you can see by the amount of American traffic, we are right in the middle of their morning push, and so a lot of arrivals and departures for American right now. We'll go ahead and move on to gate A3, the next occupied gate, occupied by this American Eagle Embraer 145 operated by Piedmont, operating the PHL flight today, one of 3 daily rotations to Philadelphia, this one being the morning one. And baggage is just arriving to the aircraft, and it will be making the return flight to Philadelphia very shortly. Next up on the taxiway, American Airlines Airbus A319 with the Sharklets. Aircraft arrived in from Miami, Florida, and it will be departing back to Miami, Florida, as it is right now. Moving on over here, another American Eagle CRJ 700 aircraft arrived in from Charlotte CLT, and it will be making the flight to St. Louis right now. The once daily to St. Louis, once again formerly served by the CRJ 200, now on the CRJ 700. And on the runway, taking off from runway 36, we have the Southwest Boeing 737-700 and the standard livery. Aircraft is currently departing for Nashville B&A, one of the new Southwest routes that will be starting on May 5th, but because I'm recording this update a little early, I went ahead and threw it in there for this month, since it is starting this month to PTS, of course, in lore. And moving on to gate A2, we have this American Airbus A321 and the PSA Heritage livery. This aircraft arrived in from, let me pull up my route sheet real quick. I do have it. Hold on. I just need to find it. Aircraft arrived in from... this was also a Dallas flight, so I have in my notes. So, well, this one actually arrived in last night and overnighted, and now it's making the flight to Dallas. But, sorry about that hiccup. Moving aside, we have the hybrid gate A1, where we do have 2 American Eagle Dash 8 100s of Air Appalachia today. This one just having arrived in a little bit ago from Beckley, West Virginia, and it is undergoing fueling, and baggage will be loaded onto the aircraft shortly for the flight to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And already completed its turnaround successfully, we have a second American Eagle Dash 8 100 operated by Air Appalachia. This aircraft arrived in from Morgantown, West Virginia, and will be departing to Pike County, Kentucky, rather, PBX Airport. And with that, that covers all the American traffic and the Terminal A traffic. We'll go ahead and start on Terminal B with the Southwest 737 MAX 8. This aircraft arrived in from none other than Denver, Colorado, and this aircraft, rather than making the return to Denver, will actually operate the inaugural service to Dallas Love Field, and that flight will return back to the airport later on today. So very happy to see that service. Some a little bit of competition for American and all their services to the Dallas and Texas area. Finally, somebody else is going to challenge them there. But yeah, that's where Southwest will be going. And moving on, we have not really a new airline to the airport, but a returning airline to the airport. Allegiant Air 737 MAX 8. This aircraft arrived in from Savannah, Georgia, and will be departing back to Savannah. With Savannah being one of the two routes. Savannah and Destin are the two Allegiant routes that they are starting their return service to. And depending on how well those routes go, I could see Allegiant expanding very easily out of here. Probably gonna have to build another terminal at some point, because I'm not sure how much Southwest likes having to share gates with Allegiant now. But, you know, maybe they can just put up with it because of my limited space for a layout as it is. But yeah, this flight in lore actually starts May 4th, but because once again I'm filming this on May 2nd, I just went ahead and threw it on in the update for now. And really special arrival and new model to me coming up next at gate B3. We have the Delta Airlines Airbus A321neo in the 100-year livery. This being a equipment swap for the typical 717 service to Atlanta. Back-to-back updates where the 717 has been swapped to a larger aircraft. Sounds like Delta is going to need to up the size for the demand quite a bit more often as summer's coming in and the warmer weather has people flying to various vacation destinations, including Portsmouth. I mean, very touristy. Yes, this is a amazing model. Once again, picked up from MTS up there in Dayton. I don't know why I'm plugging them so much in this update specifically. But very awesome model. Well done on Gemini Jets' part, and I'm just stoked to have it. I really hope Delta can send it to CVG sometime in the near future so I can snag some pictures of it in real life. But CVG's A321 services from Delta are so early in the morning that it's almost not even worth trying to go get them. But you never know. I'll keep my eye out for now. But yeah, of course, arrived in from none other than the Delta Mega Hub down there in Atlanta, and we'll be making the return flight to Atlanta later on. And next door at gate B4, we have this Spirit Airbus A320. I believe I said it in a couple updates ago that it's highly unlikely that you'll ever see two Spirit aircraft at the airport at the same time, just because of the way everything works out. But today is a bit of a train going off the tracks kind of exception there, as this A320 has broken down. That has had an issue with its engine number 2, and maintenance is currently out with the aircraft. It arrived in with no problem from Pensacola, Florida, and unfortunately it may not be able to make the turn for Pensacola as the maintenance is struggling to fix the aircraft in time. It is severely delayed right now, and travelers are getting disgruntled, but Spirit is looking to potentially send a backup aircraft later on to kind of relieve this A320 of its struggles and some of the pressure there. But yeah, departure time unknown at this time for that one. Next door, last aircraft at the terminal, we have a Spirit A321neo. This aircraft arrived in from Las Vegas, Nevada. Is currently pushed back for the return to Las Vegas. Alright, we will go from Spirit to the last area of the airport for the update, of course, being Signature. And here we have a private Pilatus PC-12 arrived in from Actually, this arrived in from Mason County, West Virginia, otherwise known as the Point Pleasant, West Virginia airport. And this aircraft will be making a turn for Raleigh-Durham today, RDU. And here we have a Cessna Citation Encore. This aircraft arrived in from Evansville, Indiana, and it will be making a flight up to Youngstown, Ohio. Back there in the back, we've got the locally based private Saab 340. Aircraft just got pulled out of the hangar and is being unattached from the tug and tow bar. And this aircraft will be making a typical visit out to Martha's Vineyard today. Next door, we have a private Cessna 208 Caravan. This aircraft arrived in from Louisville, QSV, or I believe that's the code, Jeffersonville, Indiana's airport, even though it's called a Louisville airport, even though it's in Indiana. And this aircraft will be making a flight to Shelbyville, Indiana after the turn. And we'll go to that aircraft last. We have in the corner, it's at the signature ramp because of the no gate space right now anywhere at the airport. But we have an Air Appalachia 737-300 getting fueled for a charter flight later on today. This aircraft will be departing to Beckley, West Virginia on a mining charter. Next door to that, we have a little private Piper PA-28. This aircraft arrived in on a long flight from Chicago Midway, and it will be overnighting. Unknown destination plans at this time. And big elephant in the room, last but not least, if the camera focuses, we have the Trump 757-200 in the updated American flag tail livery. This aircraft is getting ready for departure. Of course, Donald Trump was not on this aircraft, seen as if he were it would be this plane, it would be Air Force One. This aircraft is just ferrying members of the Trump organization to Portsmouth for a very important business meeting, perhaps some Trump family members and whatnot. Not sure exactly who it would be, but I wanted to feature this aircraft because I just got it off eBay. And say what you want about the politician whose name bears the side of the aircraft. All politics aside, this is a stunning aircraft, and it was very well done by NG Models. So I just had to include it in the update just for the sakes of showing it off. I might even do a review on this aircraft down the road. But absolutely gorgeous 757, and NG just is on top of their game as always. But all that aside, this aircraft arrived in from New York LaGuardia, and it will be departing to West Palm Beach down there in Florida after everything is loaded up and the motorcade is cleared. And with that, that is an end to this month's update. Thank you all very much for watching again. I apologize if my voice sounds a little worn. I've been very busy at work. I've had to scream at some people. Not really, but nah, just seasonal illness is going around as the weather is changing very rapidly daily here in Ohio as per usual. So please bear that in mind. One last thing I want to mention before this update concludes is I've seen people's comments, and I have great news to announce to those people who have asked for it, but I am finalizing a 1 to 500 scale airport as we speak. Not going to unleash any details yet. It'll kind of just be a drop as it happens to YouTube. I'm not sure if I'll make an airport Instagram for it yet or not, but let's just say it's going to be probably my most realistic, detailed model airport yet. on par with PTS here. And I have a good feeling y'all are going to enjoy it just as much as I'm enjoying currently building it and planning out everything for it. It's going to be awesome. But with all that aside, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, y'all, I will see you in the next one.